Buff Nation, what's going on? Wanting to dive into the offensive lines, performance in the running game this past week against NDSU, what my thoughts are on it leading up to our game against Nebraska, most important game of the year. And we'll also dive in a little bit into talking about the running back performances and all that. But of course, like, subscribe. I love the engagement. Even if I'm not able to respond to every comment, it really does mean a lot having you guys in here. And hey, even the trolls. So let's go ahead and get started. On the offensive line's performance in the run game. Now, this is credit to PFF. As you can see up here, they provide this nice little chart for just charting every little gap up here. Looks really nice. And, let's make my face a little bit smaller, then we'll dive in. But biggest thing that stuck out to me was, of course, we ran the most effectively when Shurmur was scrambling. I don't think that's anything you necessarily want to game plan for, but it's nice to know. Again, you see that 5.5 yards per carry right there. That's always nice. If Shurmur has to take off, knowing that he can get more than half a first down every single time, great. 4 attempts, 22 yards. All I ask, Shurmur, is that you slide moving forward. Now, we only had one run up the middle left, which is that A gap in between Hank Zielinskis and Justin Mayers. I believe this was on a Charlie Offerdahl run. It might have even been on a third down, if I remember correctly. But we ran once in that gap for 5 yards. You can see we mainly ran middle right, which is that A gap between Hank Zielinskis and Khalil Benson, where we were not very effective, at all. We ran a lot by volume, 8 rushes for only 23 yards, 2.9. You want to see better numbers there. You want to see better numbers across the board, right? But we did average 3.1 yards a carry. It could have been worse, guys. But I do think that, especially on some of the situational runs, we didn't execute as we would have hoped. But on the flip side, there were some situations in which I thought we ran the ball really, really well. And I think, hey, if we're able to mix it up a little bit, add in some toss plays, add in some counters, some wider zone, I would love to see how a Nebraska team does, that's running a 3-3-5 front as opposed to a 4-2-5. Which is what we saw this past week at NDSU. What types of runs do you feel like are going to be or are going to give Colorado the biggest advantage? Let me know in the comments. That's something I'm very curious to see. But I would like to see us attacking more of the left side when it comes to our running plays moving forward. Again, I think Justin Mayers is our most dependable, solid offensive lineman that we have right now, and I think that we could benefit in running, in front of him more and more and more, as opposed to not doing it very often at all. So let me go ahead and also get to some of the running back statistics here. Again, Dallan Hayden, we saw him get 5 of those 8 carries from the middle right gap for a 3.2 yards. Again, 9 attempts, 20 yards, not a ton, but I do think we will see better running from this team moving forward, giving this offensive line, essentially, they had their first work together as a whole against NDSU. Can we see an improvement over these next 9 days from NDSU to Nebraska? That is my hope that we do. It was nice to see Dallan Hayden be able to get a nice 6-yard run, but again, we need some more of that big time play ability, knocking off 5-6 yards more consistently. Let's take a look at Charlie Offerdahl here. Yeah, that one middle left was for the first down on a third down. That was really nice. We saw him also get a 6-yard or a 5-yard run from the middle right gap, running behind Hank Zielinskis. And again, I think we could have more success running This week, we'll see. It all depends on how they're able to handle these massive Nebraska linemen. But if they are going to play that typical 3-3-5 down man, three down linemen front, I do believe that this offensive line is stronger in the run game. I think we could see an improvement and should see an improvement in the run game from where we were at this past year in this matchup. And then Drelon Miller, would like to see a little bit of more Drelon Miller. That's kind of my 5-6 days, almost a week out from the NDSU game, being able to think about it. He looked dynamic. He did look explosive. You want to see him get some more touches. I mean, on that first play where they were throwing him that screen, I believe it was Jimmy Horn. He just got a little beat on that block. But, man, if he would have had that, maybe we had some different personnel in there. Maybe we had Omari Miller in there who provided a really big pancake later in the game. You could have seen Drelon Miller have a lot larger of an impact in the game. And I really like if the ability that he gives us to keep the defense on their toes in terms of packages. You don't know if Drelon Miller is going to be a running back or a wide receiver in some of these sets. And I would like to see him, maybe as opposed to Charlie Offerdahl in some of these situations, if it's not third down, see what he can do on the ground. Try and get him and Dallan Hayden into a bit of a rhythm. And I think if we're able to do that, you're going to see more than 65 yards rushing, in my opinion. So, yeah, interesting takeaways. Again, when we look at the breakdown team totals, I don't really feel like outside of rushing the middle right, we really gave any of these gaps much of a chance. And again, this could have been by design. We just wanted to run a few different run plays, and that was it. Keep things on offense and defense pretty vanilla this week, win with our better athletes, which is we did, and kind of keep a lot of those better play designs for the running game. Again, you can institute a jet sweep into the running game. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun? We got a lot of guys we can do a jet sweep with. I don't even think we saw one. We didn't see one this week. I don't believe. So I think you're going to see a more creative run game. It's going to be very interesting to see kind of what the splits look like after this game. But wanted to show this data with you guys so you could have an idea of kind of where we performed well, some glimpses of hope in the run game. And that's really about it so far. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Of course, let me know your thoughts on the offensive line, this matchup against Nebraska in the comments. I greatly appreciate you guys as always. I'll be back soon. Go Buffs.